So, aloha and welcome to This is Human Design with John Martin. And I guess if you haven't guessed, I would be John Martin. For those who may not know me or may be new to human design, from the moment I've met this until now, and it's over 13 years now, this has been my love, my art, my passion every day. I am here basically every day. I mean, this is what I do. This has opened something in me that I had no idea was even possible. And I want to be careful here, guys, because, you'll see that it says this is human design, okay? I'm not asking you to believe anything. I'm not asking you to accept anything. There is nothing here to believe, okay? You will find empowerment through very physical things in your body. You'll find your own truth, or you will find no truth at all. This information, I'm sorry, it's not for everyone. It couldn't possibly be for everyone. It's just not. It's for very specific people. And it unveils a very specific opportunity. And that also means that if this is not your trip, and after today's lecture, you may just run away from what this really is. And that's okay. That means there is a different thing for you. That's the beauty of human design. I'm not trying to put my trip on you guys. I'm not. But I would pay very close attention to how this comes to you. Human design is a veiled knowledge, it's secretive in a way, and I don't mean that it's not available on the internet, and I don't mean that it's not, marketed and, sold by people and all of this, and there aren't classes. What I mean is that who can really access what this is very specific. Now, when you're looking at the world, it's millions and millions of people, but it's a very small segment of our population, or populace, whatever the right word is, that he could even be prepared to hear something like this, much less embrace it and take the full ride. And, I'm really the full ride guy. I'm here to help train people for the full ride, okay? So in the simplest analogy, the simplest way I could explain this is human design is the journey of you. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what you can see with one of these charts. And, I'm really just asking you to suspend all your belief and all of your predetermined judgments or whatever you may have mentally, because I'm likely not only going to challenge some of the things you believe in, I'm actually going to challenge everything you believe in, and you'll understand why in a second. So those of you that are able to practice some level of presence or understand what it means to be here, if you would, just try to be here with me, okay? Because what I'm about to unravel for you, wow. So, human design allows you to step into a spaceship. This spaceship is approximately 10 to 14 foot ball that revolves around you. It is literally your aura, your life force, the way you interact with all life, not just your life, all life, and how you play your part in the bigger program of life. I mean, it's amazing if we could animate or illustrate or, what this really looks like. And this is sort of my best attempt, that all of us are these incredible crystal, and God, here I go, it's going to get a little new agey, but I mean, we are truly children of stardust. Stardust is what imprints us. And people go, well, why are you, because if you know me, I'm not really a new age guy. And we'll get into a bit of that in a second. But I mean, there is nothing, no story, no whatever, no mythology, no sci-fi even. There's not even a science fiction movie that is more trippy than what I'm about to take you through. And so the reason I'm not looking anywhere else is because this thing is so big and so fantastic. I mean, I couldn't comprehend looking anywhere else. I mean, what you guys are all looking for is inside you. And I understand when I say the journey of you, how silly and trite that may sound. But when you have a map and you can see what's consistent and fixed and reliable, that you can always depend on, that is always there, even if it's a chaotic dog, even if it's a bad cat that knocks over your food, there's little pieces of your design that may do this. You get to know it, you get to understand it. It's okay, that's what it does. You know, like my mind will just run off like a puppy. I mean, at least 100 times a day. I mean, it's like going to get a bad dog. It's like I have to pull the thing back and go, dude, settle down. You know, because it can't really move the form anymore. But that's mechanical, okay? Now there are all these other places in me that are not me and that I cannot trust. So when I say the journey of you, I don't even really... I know that I didn't have a clue who I was when I began this, and now I know even less. I'm clear that I am riding in a spaceship through space. This spaceship has mechanics, it has a trajectory, it has its own deal. The passenger, John, is in a constant state of anxiety. Well, not really anymore, but the passengers in these vehicles generally are in a constant state of anxiety because you really have no access to where it's going. So enter the first dilemma. Little bell. Human design reveals to us that essentially we have been given a new vehicle. And I want you to understand the opportunity of this, okay? I'm not asking you to believe any of this. Right at 1781, supposedly there was a mutation from the seven-centered consciousness, which had run the planet for a long time. I forget my notes, 60,000 years or something. Forget it. Anyway, long enough. You know? So, and that was about how to figure out how this life worked and how to, in essence, manage or conquer the material plane. And the mind has become very good at managing things, okay? That's what mind's job was up until 200 years ago. Now, when you think of a species, 200, it's a blink. It's a blink. So now what we have is this mutation to this nine-centered creature. It does not mean that anything seven-centered is wrong or bad. It is simply a program, a software program, if you will, that's running, still running, although we now have a nine-centered vehicle. Most of the world is about see what you want, figure out what you want, dream what you want, wish what you want, intend what you want, talk to the psychic, talk to the astrologist, see the guru, see anybody that can tell me what I should do. Human design gives you something you have never had. Never had. I know you have never had it because it's not possible. Something that you can learn in your own body to rely on, to make decisions consciously. You have It's always been working. Whatever's there, your magic, your starburst that's here to sing its song, it is there, baby, and it's singing. The problem is that the seven-centered mind, the very mind that was here to help us, is pulling on the vehicle's trajectory at this point. This new nine-centered possibility is this little space, and I want you to understand the potential here. We have a much more advanced spaceship that us humans that are born today as nine-centered humans will never have the consciousness that's fully intended for that. It's not possible, and if you understood it, it's much more of what people call spirit consciousness, and it's not coming until after 2027, if any of this is true, because I'm not asking you to believe it. That consciousness that's coming, I wouldn't want anything to do with it anyway. But I love the opportunity of a seven-centered vehicle or a seven-centered, program, which is still basically what we were all trained in. Use your mind to figure out your life. Being given, it's kind of like, you were running around in your front wheel, on a little tricycle in your front yard, and now someone just gave you a Mercedes. Now, you might wreck the thing. It may take you a while to learn to drive it, but the potential there is just so much greater. And really, I see these things more as starships. Okay, so I really want you guys, if you're hearing this, if you're getting it in a download or however you find it, guys, please pay attention. There is an opportunity at work here that it's just one of those serendipitous events. The magic of what it is to be alive today. So, in those of you that may need some, verification on all of this stuff, if you look right around 1781, you'll find that both the French and American revolutions took place. That the end of monarchies, the end of I am in charge and you will do as I say, in this explosion, the age of the Enlightenment, as it's called, Voltaire, Mozart, Beethoven, all this explosion in art, and a fuck you to anybody telling us what to do across the world, okay? That speaks exactly from the seven-centered manifester is at the top of the hierarchy, manifester is the king, manifester is the queen, manifester is the ruler that drives the slaves to, we'll take care of ourselves, we'll rule ourselves, we are tired of being your bitches. And so that you see that, but what are people trying to do? They continue to look for whatever they're looking for, okay? And so really get it, guys. We have a new vehicle, but most of you are still running on the old software. And now there's a space, and it's your life. It's this life that you're in, wherever you're at in it. There is a potential for awareness that is at least more accessible than it has ever been before. And that's a short little window. And it's called your life right now. And again, not asking you to believe any of this, and I'm not here to argue any of this. Little bell. Human design is about one thing, and one thing only. It's a shift in the way that you make decisions. All of these great traditions, the yoga and the astrology and the I Ching and the Kabbalah and all of these things were designed by very advanced, aware people for those vehicles to look at what was happening in the universe around and to help them make a decision, right? Based on currents or trends or probability, okay? Great strategy when it was the mind's job to figure that out. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on which end of the stick you get on this deal, as if you have a choice on that, you now have an internal guidance system. Guys, again and again, you have an internal guidance system. It can be taught, it can be trained, it can be sharpened, it can be revealed, and then you can, for yourself, verify or not the validity of anything I'm saying. But just right here, how many people are, what should I do with my life? And just understand that every time your mind thinks anything should be a millisecond different than what's actually happening, you're lost. You're lost. You're lost in the delusion that you somehow are in control of this thing. And the very first thing, and I'm about to show this to you in a way that, you know, might bend a few spoons. I can't think of a better way to say it. It could bend a few spoons, you know, and even what you think you may know about human design, but this is it. This is all it is. It's learning like a martial artist or a yoga practitioner or any dancer or any football player. It's a way to learn to navigate your life in the moment. You obviously have to be here in the moment, right? Some of you have time-oriented decision-making processes, but all of it is how do you make a decision with your body? It's not about anything else. Out of that, an incredible potential for a completely new or different way of awareness arises. So I guess we should move to the imprint and the dilemma.
Little bell